Welcome to Network Today, and I'm Sheryl Powers.
I'm Rob Bliss.
And we're here to take you from meeting people to
making money
faster. We want to build those relationships faster, and we have a theme. If you missed the theme for the year, what's the theme? You remember the theme?
The theme, stop networking.
No. Networking, stop.
Okay, I'm a little, backwards, always been.
But for the dyslexic, it could be stop networking, right? So networking, stop. That's right. And the truth is, this is so funny. I was having this conversation with my husband last night, and he's like, why would you have that as your theme when your show is all about networking? I said, well, because you have to network, but you don't want to put on a network like suit. You know what I mean? It's about networking naturally.
Well, it's a transformation. We're in the 21st century now.
Yeah.
Networking started in the 20th century.
Okay.
So we've got to transform.
Just the 20th century? Really?
No, we're in the 21st, Sheryl.
I know. But networking started in the 20th century?
Yeah.
You don't think they did it like back in BC or anything?
Well,
you think they networked?
I think you're probably right too. But
you don't think the disciples networked like so? Okay. So anyway, yeah, I need a little extra chug of caffeine today. But so it's networking stop because we want to take you to making money faster by meeting people, but having genuine organic relationships and conversations and life discussions, right? Getting plugged into the right groups and meeting the right people.
Well, it's time to stop going to happy hour. It's time to stop going to our lunches and breakfast and so on. It's time to really get it together and make it real, what you just talked about.
Yeah. So stop doing it the way we used to do it.
There you go.
So don't stop networking, but just stop the way you were doing it.
Yeah.
So, right? Okay, there we go. Differentiator. It's two different sides of the coin,
there you
but
go.
Same coin.
Yes.
That's all good. So the theme, so we have a theme for the year, but the topic for this particular episode is a good one as we roll into 2023, because this is our first guest segment for the year.
Right.
And it's stick and stay.
I love that. Stick and stay.
So my word of the week is commitment.
Whoa.
Especially for networking committophobes. Because commitment, you really have to find a group, plug in, give to that group to get back.
Yeah. You just can't wander from group to group to group, event to event. No, you've got to stick and stay.
And our guest, Casey, did a brilliant job. So first, she's just a great example of that, because we'll talk about that later during the segment. But also because she talked about her journey, and I didn't know that real journey, but that she really spent time thinking about how she wanted to get involved in organizations, and that's what launched her to the place that she's at. And that's part of why you want to stick and stay. So you don't just want to show up, right? It's not show up and punch a clock.
Well, yeah,
it's not just grab a business card and go.
Right. I mean, I think that's what happened to me. In the early stages of my networking career was, I was just going bebopping all along to all the different groups.
That's right.
And now, stick and stay is what I'm intentionally doing in my networking commitment.
Yeah.
Because I can't be of value to tons of people. I've got to develop a strong, loyal, smaller community.
Right. The Power of Who.
Yeah.
Are we going to bring the book up again?
Yeah,
I know
Bob Bodine, Power of Who.
It's a good book.
Yeah, you
Great
don't
book.
need to get more people in your community. You need to develop better relationships.
That's right. So we'll talk more about that. And before we get into our outstanding guest segment, we're going to talk about our Grand Slams. So since we've had a bit of a holiday season, I know you've got a bunch stored up in your back pocket.
Yeah, I love this segment, Sheryl, because again, it just shows you the power of networking, the value of networking, and again, how important it is to small business owners. We don't have those big marketing budgets where we can do Google ads and Facebook ads and those type things where it costs a lot of money, but networking is the way to do it for small business owners. And again, this is another chamber story.
Yep. Good. Well, we'll get into it here in a sec.
Okay.
Right. So these are success stories because networking can not always be fun. So we like to keep our eyes on the prize, and we'll be back.
Are you having trouble with your VoIP phone system? Smart Office USA to the rescue. We're a local company here in DFW with real people, certified technicians, and we even come to your office to help you. Smart Office USA, representing the #1 VoIP phone system on the planet. And we are right here in DFW, ready to help you. Call us 214-272-0921 or go to www.smartofficeusa.com.
Okay, time for Grand Slam, our success story. I'm just gonna go for it.
You go for it.
Because this was I've just been bucking at the gate. Like, I just couldn't wait to be able to tell this story because it's so good and it encompasses so much. And this will help you. I promise, when you're like, oh my gosh, that person that said we were going to do some business together, like, it never happened. I don't know where they went. They totally ghosted me. Let me tell you, if you stick and stay and you follow up enough, just a little drip campaign, like I'm incorporating all the episodes, this could happen to you. So my husband was so he was a pitcher at UNT. Did I ever tell you that? So that's how he came down from Muskogee to Texas.
Never knew that.
It was back when they had a baseball program in the 80s. So part of that group, he had a fraternity group and a group of other players. And so he he had a buddy, and that buddy and he reconnected. Oh golly, I want to say it was probably 5 years ago, when we drove up to Tulsa to see his buddy, and he has a benefit firm. And that buddy, just great conversation, right? We go out to lunch and he voluntarily says, hey, let's work together. I'm going to run this past some of my other leaders, and then we'll get back with you. Nothing happened, right? Nothing. I follow up. We get on LinkedIn. I email. I even make a couple of phone calls, like, not to alienate the guy, but just to, hey, touch base. Nothing happens. 5 years later, my husband gets an invitation to his Christmas party, 2022. And we're like, I said, do you think that was sent to the wrong person? Like, what happened? And so here's what happened. Life gets in the way sometimes of people. And so he comes back and he says, hey, so we go to the Christmas party. That's first. We go to the Christmas party. He's introducing my husband to everybody and saying, hey, Sheryl, this is another important component. Sheryl is so active on LinkedIn. Y'all need to get to know Sheryl because she's got it going on. Not because I really do, but it just, LinkedIn makes me look like I do. So that was so great. And then I've already had a meeting with the CEO. So this gentleman's the president. And then I've had a meeting with the CEO to see if we can work on next steps now. But that's what happens. And they have, I don't know, I think 5 locations now across the country. So Dallas and Tulsa and beyond. So that's what happens when you stick and stay and you're committed to the follow-up and the process, even when it's painful.
Yeah.
Even when you feel like, hey, they're totally like they lied. Like, how could they look at me and just lie like that? But it wasn't really a lie. It was just that they thought, it just wasn't the time. And he said, I apologize. I was just busy.
Right.
He was doing other things, and that's what happened. So,
man, that is awesome.
Isn't that a great story?
Oh, God. Well, mine not quite as exciting as yours, but again, mine is the stick and stay play on that is chamber event. And I made the commitment to attend, most and all of chamber events, and especially the networking activities. And just recently at First Friday Luncheon, I met a guy there that I probably met 3 or 4 or 5 months ago. And we really, we haven't quite bonded yet. We haven't had our one-on-one yet, but we always talked at the First Friday Luncheon. And so finally, after the last one we attended, we kind of exchanged cards and said, let's make the commitment to have the one-on-one so we can help each other. And then he says to me, Rob, you need to meet my wife because I think she can really help you. And he said, oh, what does she do? Well, she sells copiers. And I said, Barry, I haven't had a copier sales rep in like over a year or two. I said, that is very vital to my power team. Yeah. I said, here's my card. Get her to call me. I get back to the office 20 minutes later, there's a voicemail from Lisa.
Gosh.
And she's going, Rob, you met my husband. Man, I want to get together. We can help each other. This is awesome. And she sounded all excited in that.
Great.
And so, boom. So again, it's that stick and stay that when you see people at a luncheon from 4 or 5 months ago, and you really haven't connected quite yet, but you've made the effort to at least say hi to them and say a few things, and you're sticking to it. Yeah. And you're sticking to it. And then, boom, this is going to be huge for me. I'm really excited about it.
I love it. Isn't this beautiful? So hopefully this helps give you some hope if you feel like it's a desert that you're a networking desert that you're walking through right now. So it will get better if you stick with the process and stay in your lane. Yeah. Right. All right. And we'll be back with our amazing guest, Casey. Let's face it, employees waste time on the company dime. Why? Life's complicated. We help keep the junk of life out of the workplace and in the hands of the experts. Empowered Advantage, empowering employees, giving businesses the advantage. Letter M as in magnificent, poweredadvantage.com. This is such a thrilling day for me.
Aw,
we've been working hard on this.
I know. It's two busy ladies that are out there trying to change the world, trying to get together.
That's right. Well, and this is going to be a power conversation because it is the two of us and there is no Rob.
I know.
So we kind of get to do whatever we want to. We get to make any changes. So this is, if you don't know, the amazing, the lovely, the extremely talented and multifaceted Casey Hasten. And I want to give a little background because we were just talking about so we do all this podcasting stuff, we do all this networking stuff, but what else do we do to make money? So this is what you need to look up Casey. She's up on LinkedIn for sure, and we'll get some of her other information here at the end. But so she's actually with VIP Recruiting. Been there 4 years.
Almost 5.
Almost 5. IPEC as well. What's IPEC?
So IPEC is the International Professional Excellence in Coaching. It is a 1-year coaching certification school accredited by the International Coaching Federation. And let me tell you something. If you want to transform your life, go to coaching school, even if you never intend to coach. It is so powerful.
Wow. Okay. On my list. On my list. IPEC. And truly, how we got connected was through Success North Dallas.
Yes.
Because Success North Dallas is iconic in this market. Did you know that I was one of Bill's original?
No.
So Bill had started this back in 1989. 88. And I was at KZPS at the time. And I was invited. And I was a young buck. Probably at that juncture, I was 23. And there I was. Yeah, that's how I knew Bill.
You were one of his 30% of women.
That's right.
Give me a high five. I did not know that.
Yes, so that's why it was so funny. But this is the world of networking. Yeah. This is why networking is so important and why this topic is so important. Stick and stay, because you stick around long enough, you're going to circle back around and see these people. So when I saw him over at the Mavericks, the Mavericks D-League, Texas Legends, right? The Texas Legends, and they do their breakfast networking thing. It's a really big deal. And that's when I saw Bill a couple of years ago. I'm like, Bill! It's so fun. Isn't that weird?
That is incredible. And I love that you just pointed that out because it really is such a small world. And I love when you make those connections with people that, you're like, wait a minute. I know you because of this. Yeah. And it's just incredible. You got to pay attention and always be nice to people because it is a small world.
That's right. Be nice to Bill Wallace for sure.
For sure.
That's right. So one of the reasons we were so thrilled too to have Casey on is because she's certainly lovely and talented, as you already know, but also an author.
I am an author.
This is so super exciting. So she's got insight into things and really just the thought process behind implementation, strategy, organization. You're really good at.
Because I'm not.
Oh,
I have to be good at it because I'm not.
What?
I know that doesn't make any sense, does it?
It doesn't?
I am totally not an organized person. It is forced organization. Oh. So that's really why I journal and why I'm such a journal junkie is because I have to order the chaos. Okay. In order to get things done. And, and I was journaling about so many different topics and carrying around so many, I kid you not, I had to get a cart to carry my journals back and forth to work because I had so many. along with all my other stuff, like my work stuff. But yeah, so I decided I wanted a journal that had everything in it, and it just didn't exist.
Wow. Beautiful. So we'll touch on that when we get to the end, because I want to make sure that you've got her information, that you know about this journal, so you can tap into that. But the stick and stay topic, so we provided a little information, some options. You selected this topic because?
I selected this topic because I think that I am the perfect example of what happens when you stick and stay.
Yeah. Stick and stay to you means?
It means buying in with your whole heart. So you know me, but many of your listeners probably don't. But I am the type of person that once I commit to something, I don't go in 100%. I go in 150%.
Ooh. Okay.
So
love it.
I have to be really careful where I pour my energy.
Yeah.
And when I started looking for networking groups 5 or 6 years ago, I went to a bunch, and I was really looking for that place that felt like home. Right?
Yeah.
And I actually met Bill at an event. Isn't that how most people met Bill? And then he's like, come next Wednesday, and that's exactly what happened with me. And I was really awed with his presence and his manner, because as you know, when Bill wants to share his information with you, he doesn't go, here's my card.
Yeah.
Bill goes, may I give you my card? And then it's a whole presentation like the Chinese, right? It's really a thing.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about that analogy, but yes.
But you don't forget him.
Yeah.
And you don't forget what he says. And so I decided to attend a Success North Dallas meeting, which is the third Wednesday of every month. And I was blown away. I mean, I was blown away by the people in the room. I was blown because these are business leaders. These are influencers. These are entrepreneurs. These are people that have standing in the community.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by the people in the room, that I was in the same room with those people, and that I was able to just be a part of that. And so I decided almost that same day, this is where I'm putting my time. This is where I'm putting my money. But let's go back to the 150%.
Yeah.
It's not enough for me to show up.
Okay.
I have to be integrated, a part, and have influence over whatever I'm doing.
Okay.
And by influence, I mean, I want to be able to help people for the better. And so I started plugging in, really, anytime somebody said they needed a volunteer, I raised my hand, started really small as a door greeter.
Note to yourself, this is important.
Yeah. Started really small as a door greeter. Yeah. And this has been over 5 years, right, of development. Never missed a meeting unless I was sick, was always there. And it just got to the point where Bill would, like, when he needed something, he would call me because he knew I'd say yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much of the story you want me to share right away, but as we were going along through the years, I just started taking on more and more responsibility, worked my way up to the chief of staff with the organization. And so now I'm managing way more of the operations, from setting the agenda to helping find speakers because, we have the best of the best speakers every month. That's not easy, especially because, we don't pay our speakers. We don't pay our speakers. We don't pay their expenses.
Well, and at some point you feel like, don't you, that you start exhausting all of that. So it's important to be surrounded by good people.
Absolutely.
So you can each play your role.
Absolutely. And so, so I was just, and I was happy being the chief of staff. I'm integrated, I'm plugged in, I've done my 5 years, I'm right where I want to be. And then Bill got sick. As you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Really sick. So for the first 34 years, do you know how many meetings he missed?
How many?
1.
Oh my gosh.
1 meeting in 34 years.
Wow.
So when he got sick, he missed 2 back to back. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody had to do anything. Bill always did it all.
Yeah.
And so our operations team really had to pull together, and just we were scrambling. You should have seen us. It was really quite funny. But we pulled, and this was the day we had Seth Waugh, the new CEO of the PGA.
Oh, no.
Was our speaker.
Oh, no.
And Bill's in the hospital, and we're like, now what?
But you begin learning about the importance of duplicatable processes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And how sticking and staying in a process then elevates you to the CEO level, which is what you are now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I took over as CEO this year, and this was all due because of, and yes, there are those replicable processes. But had I not been there and been so dedicated Like, I can't tell you the number of relationships. You're one of them, but there's so many relationships that I've formed, so many people that reach out to me. And I want to just share a real quick story because this is how beautiful this can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my dedication, because that I've been right there the whole time. Becoming CEO of Success North Dallas is beautiful, but you want me to tell you what's even better?
What?
So I know we've talked a lot about Leadership Global and the C-Suite Network.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Hazlett's organization, which Trisha Ben is now stepping into the CEO role. And because of my stickiness with this organization, Trisha Ben agreed to be my mentor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
Huge.
goodness. Well, and so sticking and staying and not moving around, right? There is a moving around because you're talking about you had to shop, right? It's dating. So you're kind of sifting and sorting through the process, but you find what speaks to you and really where you're comfortable, where you have peace, where you're being elevated and where other people are ahead of you so that you can grow into those roles. But if you had just left, if you didn't stay.
Yeah. Or if I only showed up once a quarter or once every 6 months.
You only get out of it what you put into it, obviously, right?
Very correct.
So this is such a great case study, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Oh, no, it's a long game for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was me showing up and like I tell people a lot of times, me just sticking myself in front of Bill every chance I could get.
Yeah.
Not because I thought I would one day take over Success North Dallas, but because I wanted to learn from him. I wanted to be in the same room with him when he was with other great people.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, and surround yourself with the greats.
Yes.
Sooner or later, it'll make you better, at least.
It has to. You have to level up.
Yeah.
You know, I know the saying is passed around so much, but I just think there's a reason why it is. You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yep. And they say, take a look at the income. Like if you're 5 years into it and you're like, hey, my income's low, take a look at the 5 people you're around and you're probably at the average of that income.
Yeah.
So, and it is kind of magic. It is kind of magic. Man, we need to do this again. Maybe we'll have Rob here next time. Maybe not.
I don't know. It's kind of fun. Just the girls.
It is fun, just the girls. So, Casey, how do people find you?
There's several ways you can find me. The best way to reach out to me, because by day I am a recruiter. And so I live on LinkedIn. So, and it's just my name, Casey C. Hasten. Okay. But I promise you, if you go out there and if you Google Casey Hasten, I pop up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, and then other places to find me would be on my journal website, which is destinationawaken.world.
I want you to repeat that because this is a beautiful site and it's going to be launching on Amazon, your book.
Soon, yes. If you've never sold anything on Amazon, it is a pain to get on.
so let's support her and you're going to love it. So again, it's
destinationawaken.world.
Okay. All right.
And then, of course, wearevip.com. Yeah. And that's where you'll also find our podcast.
Wonderful. And quickly before we leave, so this is super fast. And I did not prepare you for this.
Oh, yay.
A little known fact about yourself that I'd say, you just blew me away, girl.
Okay. I was the number 2 dirt bike rider in Texas.
My gosh. When?
Long time ago, when I was in high school. But I was sponsored by Yamaha, so.
How fun is that? Number 2 dirt bike rider.
Yeah. I was only number 2 because I broke my collarbone.
Otherwise, really number 1.
I would have been number 1, yeah.
That's right.
So, and it was cross country, not motocross. So I'm doing the technical in the woods, up the mountains, 50 miles.
You are a fascinating girl. You are fascinating. So Casey Hasten, you need to catch up with her. Thank you so much for being the epitome of sticking and staying.
Thanks for having me.
All right. See you soon.
A small business is still a business. At Purple Cow Branding, we want to help you execute your greatest visions for your company. Purple Cow works for small businesses that don't have big budgets to spend on their marketing efforts. Inquire now at purpleCowBranding.com to be the biggest little guy around. Purple Cow Branding, much more than digital marketing.
All right. So stick and stay. I know for you and I, we both stick and stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're here.
Right.
Would you say you're an overstayer or an understayer?
Ooh. I think I'm kind of right in the middle.
You're a middle stayer?
I'm a middle stayer. I mean, we talked about the importance of the stick and stay process,
Right.
And you've got to understand too, are those groups bringing value to
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
that's are you under or over? And so I think, again, looking at it now is I am intentional now with the groups I go to make sure that I am getting value from that. And I'm also giving value to the right people
Yeah.
that they are in my same community, that we share the same value
Yeah.
system. So yeah, I think, again, talking with our guest, we learn so much
Yeah.
again, Cheryl,
Yeah.
and it motivates me to say, oh, I've really got to jump on that stick and stay program, and the takeaways we got from it. But how about you?
I'm an overstayer.
Overstayer.
I'm bad about that. I'm bad about everything in my life. That is an ongoing problem for me.
Mhm.
Friendships, relationships, bad boyfriends when
Right.
I just keep thinking I could fix it.
Right.
Oh, surely it will get better. Maybe it's me. I'll
Right.
fix me.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of, I absolutely applaud people who can identify, hey, this isn't a good fit and I need to move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just business, right? So and I have a real hard problem. So I'm getting better though.
Okay.
Because we can only grow when we learn to say no.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of growth, is to learn to say no.
Well,
So
maybe that's something. I'm kind of that same way too. Maybe that's something we can help each other with.
okay. You can teach me how to say no. And maybe you could make the call when I have to say no. I'll say, can you talk to Rob? I would have Rob send an email. I'm going to send Rob in because I don't want to face you when I say no. I don't want to do that. But
this was such a great topic.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
and we always like to talk about what our takeaways were. What are the action steps?
Yeah.
So what would you say the first action step we got to talk about?
I think you have to find, and to Casey's point, you have to find the right groups, right? She did a little sifting, sorting process. So
Right.
find groups. And I think you and I were talking about, probably between the two of us, we're looking about like 3 to 4 groups.
Yeah.
If you can find 3 to 4 really good groups, and get plugged in, and and be careful about how much you get charged for those groups. But when you find one that's good, be willing to pay for it if it's the right one.
Right. And, too, the game plan, stick to that 3 to 4, develop the community. So maybe you can, once you're comfortable there and you have gotten to know people and so on, maybe
Yeah.
you can add 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
But don't just spread your, shotgun approach where you're
Yeah.
going to attend, 50 groups.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it. You find and pinpoint it to the 3 or 4.
Yeah. And groups are all built differently for different purposes. So
Right.
understand what your purpose is before you start that search. Okay. Number 2,
Stick to the process.
what is the process?
The process in, this whole action plan of stick and stay would be the fact that you've got to have a game plan.
Mhm.
You've got to be intentional about what groups you're going to and then stick to that. You've got the plan outlined. You've put it on your calendar. You're not going to let you wander off because that's my problem, wandering off, getting invited to another
No.
group and so on. So that, again, then you lose momentum from that group.
Yeah.
People, if it's especially on the monthly groups, it could be 2 or 3 months before you get back there.
Yeah.
Again, you're spoiling the whole You're not sticking to the game plan.
And the process is get to the group, find meaningful one-on-ones, have those one-on-ones, do the follow-up with those one-on-ones, and then stay is number 3 in your lane.
Right.
Right. So
stay in the game.
Yeah.
You've got that system in place. Just with the points that you outlined, Cheryl, is that if you have that, you're going to stick to it, and it will in the long run work out for you.
Yeah.
Rather than just flitting around all these different other groups.
Yeah. When you stick with it, it will stick with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was telling you about a discussion, and we'll wrap this up here, but I was telling you about a discussion I had with somebody who we've been networking for quite some time, years. I've known this person and part of networking groups frequently, but said they weren't getting anything out of networking. And when I asked, what are you giving?
Yeah.
It wasn't, they weren't going
Yeah.
through the process, right? So they were sticking, but they weren't sticking with the process.
Yeah.
So it's different. So not just showing up isn't sticking.
Right. No. You got to do much more of that. And and the sticking process too is what I'm finding and what I'm realizing with the effort that we're putting into this is that when I do go to the groups now, people come up to me and say, I was told I need to get to know you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why is that? It's
Great.
because I've been there. I'm supporting the group. I'm supporting the members. I'm giving value to these people and developing that reputation that we talked about.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I'm seeing that happen. Therefore, again, I don't need other groups, all these other groups. I need to then stick to my 3 or 4 groups.
Yep. That's absolutely right. It's marketing, right? So when you stick and stay, you're marketing yourself as a reliable individual, a reliable source. So
absolutely.
So that's good. I love this. We want to make sure that you are subscribing. info@networktodaydfw.com. info@networktodaydfw.com. Do I need to say it a third time? I hope not. Because we are rolling out, if you missed the announcement, if you missed the last episode, please go back to it. We are rolling out some amazing things, and you will be first to hear about them.
As a subscriber.
That's right. Because you're going to get those email alerts. The other thing too is that you don't have to go find these episodes. They'll just be in your inbox once a week. So we don't spam you. We don't sell this, right? So all good. It's just us. So you ready for next week?
I'm ready for next week.
Me too. We're gonna have another great episode coming up. And cheers to you. It's Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
making money
faster. Right. See you next week.
This has been a Purple Cow production.